Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the clock case puzzle box build. Here we're setting one of the locking mechanisms for one of the drawers that goes in the back of the clock. In this particular case it's simply a brass pin which fits into two holes, and the drawer has to be inverted or turned upside down in order to release the drawer. When the drawers had all been fitted, oak panels were glued to the front of all the drawers. I printed out some small scale playing cards, and these were glued onto the front and back of the magnetised wooden blocks. I painted on a layer of button polish then, or shellac lacquer, just to give them a bit of an aged look and to make them a bit more long lasting. This is one of the clues that I printed out, and this will be stuck to the inside of the rear door. Obviously I didn't want it to look newly printed, I wanted to give it a bit of an aged look, so I used the old favourite, an old tea bag. Works a treat. When it came to matching the wood colour of the clock case, I tried a few different stains and varnishes, but none of them really came out dark enough. So in the end I opted to give it a coat of black ink to start with. Then I rubbed a lot of it off with the cloth. I let it dry, then give it a rub down with very fine sandpaper. And then the surface was finished off with an oak stain. This particular one I think belonged to my dad, so it must be 20 or 30 years old at least. So it's lasted me well. And it gives a nice waxy sheen. Here I'm gluing down the printed clue using a bit of PVA glue. It would have been better I think with a spray adhesive, but I didn't have any, so you have to use what you've got. And it works. I'll explain the meaning of the glue in a later video. But if you think you can work out what it means, then have a go by all means, and leave a comment below. The clock face was bought online and was adapted to fit the size of my clock. The text below is another clue, and again, if you think you can work it out. At this point I've papered over the small drawer at the front of the clock face, and so this has to be cut through. And then the old tea bag comes into play again. Now all the drawers are lined, and I'm using here an imitation suede leather. I made a cardboard template to fit the inside of the drawers, and then the material is wrapped around it. And now for the clock hands. The hands were a bit floppy, so to tighten them up I wrapped some tape around the inner tube, which seemed to cure the problem. These were then inserted into the clock and set in the switched on position. They were then taped down so the hands could be set at the correct time. Then it's just a case of replacing everything and screwing everything down. That's another clue just been sneakily placed at the bottom of that drawer. This is the key that is needed to release the top drawer. It has to be pulled apart and turned round so that the wedge-shaped end is inserted into the drawer. The box has to be tipped on its side at this point in order to reset the hammer. Then the locks are set and the job is complete. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. On my next one I'll give a complete walkthrough on how to solve it. So stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers!